the chat for right now. There's not really anybody talking. Oh, yeah, it's already locked. So I will unlock it again in a second, just as we have some time. But I'm going to go through a couple of things today to help support your student in science, give you some tips and tricks and just some things that you might can look forward to or look for. So like I said, if you have something that comes to mind, go ahead and type it, but don't hit enter yet. And whenever I unlock the chat, it'll be wide open and you can put that in. So thinking about a couple of things that you might want to do at home for your middle school science student. A couple of things, I'm not necessarily going to read them straight off the board here, but check that out. And I am going to open up the chat for a quick second. I'm going to get you guys to be involved here. Whenever you see these three things kind of highlighted in green, blue, and red, or pink maybe, tell me some ideas that might come to your head, things that you could do after reading these couple of helpful tips or hints, some things that maybe you guys as parents, or if some students are in here, some things that you guys might be really into or that you might could even use as an example. You can just type that in the chat. I think I opened it back up for us. All right, and I see a couple people typing. It might take a little while to type it out, but we'll see what some folks say to help encourage that curiosity and using some interest and making real life connections. Those are some great things that we are looking for. So I'm just looking for some examples. All right, some hands-on learning stuff for sure, Mason. And there's several people typing. It's about to just flood onto the screen because people are working on their sentences. I'll tell you as you're typing, throughout the state of Georgia, there are lots of cool spots and places. I think of like life science. I live in Valdosta, Georgia, and I'm about an hour from the Okefenokee Swamp. Like, how cool is it to maybe take a little field trip on a weekend or one afternoon if you're close by to some areas close to you? That's a great example of hands-on learning. Seeing some ideas like experiments, see that as an example. Projects, interactive projects, excellent. Solar panels, making stuff like that for your computer, very nice. Being outside is always a good thing, no matter what you're doing. I love being outside. Oh, nice, Angela. All right. So really, with those things on the board here, we're just kind of trying to be creative. And I think that's kind of a main thing, a main thought process in science is being creative. You know, we have a world around us where we can get out, see things. And so I'm from Middle Georgia, close to where Miss Lowndes is from. I'm from Warner Robin. She's in Milledgeville. But I remember whenever I was in elementary school and middle school, going to the Museum of Arts and Sciences in Macon. And they've got the, Miss Lowndes, you might have to help me here. What's the thing where the planetarium? I was trying to think. You can go there and they do free things like maybe one Friday a month where you can go sit in the planetarium and it's cool. You're looking up and they can project the stuff on the ceiling and everything. And you're looking at all the stars and they're telling you about the constellations. And that directly correlates with sixth grade earth science, some things that they talk about. So really lots of cool stuff if you really just hop online, look for some opportunities. And I'm sure maybe your own specific teachers of your students would probably have some good ideas for you as well. All right, so lots of good stuff in the chat. Oh yeah, Tellus Museum in Cartersville, I believe. Another really great, excellent place. If you think Indian mounds are cool, there's the Kolomoki Mounds. I think they're more over toward Alabama, and then the Etowah Mounds up in North Georgia. There's the Indian Mounds, old muggy ones in Macon. So yeah, lots of cool things to check out. All right, so I'm going to shut the chat down for just a quick second again, and I'm sorry if I might have cut you off mid-sentence, but just to kind of move on. So another thing is asking scientific questions. Now, what I've got here, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little, just a second. I'm going to put a little link in the chat for you. Now, because this was like a pre-set up thing, if this was my own classroom, I would have had this as like a drop down and we could have watched the video together. But what I'm going to do, this is a little 2-minute video about asking scientific questions. So I'm going to toss this in the chat really quick. And I will just kind of on my phone put up a little 2-minute timer. So your job right now is to hop on that link, and it's going to take you over to YouTube. And there's a 2-minute, 19-second video, and we're all going to watch this really quick. So I'm just going to set a little timer on my phone, starting now. All right, you got a couple more seconds left, but I'm about to bring us back together here, and we're going to talk about some of these scientific questions that we can ask. All right, so I hope you did get a chance to watch that. And it just kind of asked or kind of went through some scientific questions, some things that we could be thinking. And, whenever we're thinking about this stuff, we don't want to necessarily just ask um, if you're talking about like the depth of knowledge questions, you don't always just want to ask something that is just a plain answer. That's a little bit more mathematical. 2 + 2 = 4. It's just a plain old answer. But science, we're going to be a little different. We're wanting to know the how and the what and the why behind things. So it also works with things like predicting and thinking about what might happen or why something did happen. So I think of this just in my own real life stuff. I don't have any kids myself, but I have a cool 10-year-old niece. So whenever I hang out with her, she is very inquisitive. She likes to know the why of stuff. And I really like the way that my dad, he's really good with her in terms of just teaching her things and letting her figuring them out on her own. So maybe in the chat, I'm going to open it back up right now. What are maybe some real life experiences you guys have had based on some of the things that are on the board here? I'm going to open up this chat again. And if I cut you off on the last thing, you can maybe toss that in again where I might have cut you off from the last time. But think about some other real life things where you might have asked some of these questions to kind of help explain or to push forward that curiosity in your middle school science student. So in the chat, we're looking for some real life examples. And I don't know, Miss Lounge, you might have something to share too, if you can think of anything, not to put you on the spot, but if you had something, you could pipe in too.
Oh, Mr. Carr loves to put me on the spot. Well, I'm thinking about my 4-year-old grandson, not a middle schooler yet, but full of curiosity. And One question that he wants to know is why are some of our ducks in the lake different colors? Why aren't they all the same? So that's an example of starting that curiosity, talking about genetics and ducks and all kinds of fun things that we can talk about when we talk about ducks in the lake.
Thanks, Miss Lowndes. And I sure enough did put you on the spot there, but you came through. That was a good answer. All right, and I see several people typing. I know sometimes it's a little hard to get in the chat, but what I'll do, I know that's going to come through here in just a second, and I'll kind of hit back on that too. I also tried to give you a little pro tip in the chat there. If you ever have a video, I'm all about being efficient with my time, but if I ever have a video, or if I like to listen to a lot of podcasts, on my phone, 100% of the time, I'm playing that thing at 1.5 speed. Makes it go by a little faster. I can still hear it and pay attention. I know some people don't like that fast, the fast tone of voice or whatnot, but I'm all about saving a little time if I can. All right, so other things kind of going along with that, pushing the curiosity and asking those type of questions, just the things that you're doing at home, experiences that you're having, places you go, and the world that we live in, everything around us can help us to learn and experience by what we are actually doing and what we're going through. We have in the past year been in a pandemic, and there's a lot of things that we probably learned from that. You might have learned what toilet paper is your favorite, or you might have learned what tissues are your favorite, or whatever the case may be. And some of this stuff you learn by trial and error. I saw something about tissues earlier. There might be some Kleenex brand and they might be a little softer on that nose, or they might smell a little better. So you can do a little, maybe one's maybe a little more durable than others. So based on that, you can do a little mini science experiment at your house. Some other examples here on the board: interacting with experts around you. And this is a really good one. I know it might be a little harder to get out now, but whenever you go to professionals, somebody who's an expert in their field, there's some examples right here on the board. It's always a good idea to yourself talk to these people, but also allow your children and your own students to learn from them. I know as I was growing up, I was all about animals and stuff like that. But, whenever you go to the vet, let your kid ask some cool questions that they might come up with. A lot of these people that are in that professional realm are all about, giving that knowledge to others that are willing to hear it too. So they like to share those sort of things. All right, I'm going to keep on rolling. All right. So now we've kind of gotten past the questioning part, and I'm going to maybe give you some ideas on the procedural part here at GCA. Now, I know that a lot of you guys might be veterans here at GCA. Some of you guys might be brand new. No matter what, though, I would say it's important to have a plan in place on how you attack your week at GCA. On the board right here are just some ideas and suggestions. These are nothing that you have to do, but these are things that you can take, pick and choose, and make a plan that works for you. Some suggestions: definitely the weekend at some point before you jump into the week on Monday, I think it's a good idea to take some time to sit down with your student and look what's coming up for the week. In science, we have our daily plans listed on the calendar at 7:30 a.m. for each day. If you click on those, it's going to give you a very nice, orderly, detailed list of what's going on, including things that are going to be graded, what projects are coming up, all of that good stuff. And it will tell you your class times for the week, which are going to be pretty uniform. It's not going to change unless we have a week like we're in right now with our interim assessments. Some other things: checking in at least throughout the week, at least weekly, if not daily, with your student, just to kind of see where they're at in that progress on the weekly plan. And then it's always a good idea just to have them put in their own words some things that they might be learning in class. I see some of you guys posting in the chat some of the strategies and things that you do as well. And I honestly think that's probably even a better tip than maybe what I'm giving, because what you're seeing in the chat is from a parent at GCA of a student. It's stuff that they're doing in their actual real life that's working for them. So, you might have heard the whole caring is sharing or sharing is caring. So use it, lose it, whatever works for you. It's always a good idea to have ideas and bounce them off of each other. Alrighty. So here, like I was saying, is kind of what we're looking at. Here's a little breakdown of all of the classes, and this is just like a little snapshot on the dashboard for the day. You can see right here if you were trying to figure out what you were doing for science. Well, I've got my science here highlighted in blue. This is from Miss Bodine's class. We're looking at semester 2. You can go in here and you can see exactly what time the class might start. You have the work for today, and you're going to be able to look, if I click on this, at a much more detailed look at exactly what's going on with some maybe helpful videos, some other links and resources that would help you to sharpen your tools for the subject that you're reviewing over that week. Some other views. This is what I'm talking about. Here's a snapshot of a student schedule and the calendar, and you can see right here, 7:30 a.m. you got your daily science plan. Well, this week, or excuse me, last week on the 4th, on Thursday, I can tell exactly what was going on. It looks like this teacher was doing a review day. I can see it right here in the title. This is on the 4th. And then you can over here on the right-hand side, this is what it would pull up if you go to it. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. Here is a little learning target and your things we're going over. There's videos, and I couldn't snap the whole thing, but as you go down that list, it's going to have the daily assignment all in a nice, neat, organized manner. So great idea to look at those from the student perspective for all of your classes, but especially science. Here's a look from a 6th grade class. This is the similar. I'm going to scroll back on this next slide. This is what the 8th grade teachers, that's kind of what their daily to-do looks like. Right here is what maybe a 6th grade teacher's, because they all have a similar setup, is showing the same information, just laid out slightly different. I can look right here on Monday. You've got the PowerPoint that we had in class. You've got your class notes listed nice and neat right here. A little handout, practice quiz. You've got all these things broken down, and this is the whole weekly plan for this 6th grade science class. So you're looking at Monday, but you can just keep on scrolling down and see what's going on for the rest of the week as well. Great resource to check at the beginning of the week. All right, for our Relearn Recovery. You've probably heard of this. You probably know a little bit about it, but it never, ever hurts to kind of remind ourselves about how we can use this. I'm going to give you all a quick little second. I'm going to be quiet and just let you take a quick minute to read these little bullet points right here. And then there's a snip of what it would look like right here. So I'm going to be quiet for about a minute, 30 seconds maybe. All right, I think we are, that's probably enough time. So let's say that you took a test, your student took a test, not you, but your student, and they got a 35. Oh, and mom and dad are a little disappointed. We were hoping kid would do better. So what's something that you can do? Well, you can do a Relearn Recovery. Trivia question, type it in the chat. How many days do you have to do this Relearn Recovery and for it to be in the time frame? There you go, Paula. And Mason, thank you. Joy. All right, lots of 5, 5, 5s coming. You got 5 days to get this done. What you will do is you will do a little assignment. There's going to be like a little brief review because something happened. We're not saying the kid, what we are trying to say is, well, somehow or another, there was something missing here, right? A 35, we didn't do so hot. Maybe your student rushed through it. We don't know. They might just not have understood it very well. So here's an opportunity. What you can do this little Learn Recovery assignment. It is a nice little breakdown of the topic. It gives it to you in a different kind of way so you can see it differently. And then after you do that little study thing, you can go back and take the quiz and you can get that second attempt, and I bet that 35 is going to jump up. And guess what? Even if it jumps from a 35 to a 60, that's probably not exactly where we want to be. But hey, did we show some improvement? You better believe it. So that's good. I always tell my students whenever I work with them in class, whenever I hop into other teachers' classes, I don't really care if students get wrong answers in class. I kind of like it because I know for myself and for other students, if they mess something up, they're going to remember, hopefully, why they messed it up, and they're not going to mess it up again. So a lot of times, it's better to mess something up when it doesn't necessarily count for a big test grade, like on a quiz, where you can have another chance at it. You can really learn it. So then whenever test time comes around, like this week for our interim assessments, that mistake I made in the past, well, I learned my lesson. I know what I'm talking about now. And here we are, interim assessment week. And now I'm not making the 60 anymore. I've got me a 75 maybe. So you keep making those little improvements. So that's what our Relearn Recovery, the purpose of that is. All right. Oh, here's a good one. Coming to live class. Now, coming to class is only the first step. Showing up is the first step. But once your student gets in class, like a lot of you guys are doing right now, participating in the chat, you're answering questions, giving ideas, you guys are showing great engagement in class, right? You're participating, and a lot of times you get a lot more out of that. If this was more of a typical class, I would have you guys, hey, hop on the microphone and give me an example here where it's not necessarily just typing in the chat. I'm trying to give a little bit more informational stuff today. But being involved and active in class is where your student is going to get the most out of it. In those classes, you're going to have a lot of things going on. There's going to be some group work, some live demonstrations. The teacher will probably give like a little mini lesson. There's going to be activating and closing strategies to kind of gauge an idea of where you are and what you need to know. All righty. When we get into class, at the beginning, your teacher's probably also going to remind you of some class things that are coming up this week. I can guarantee you they're going to do that because that's almost in every class you're going to see that. They do a little rundown of what's happening. They're going to give a little mini lesson and talk about what's happening in the class on that particular day. They're going to go over the standards and whatnot. And the teacher is going to give, like I said, a little group thing. And then a lot of times there's going to be a chance for the students to have some guided practice and then some individual work time on their own. Now, I see Paula has made a little comment in the chat about sometimes classes are optional, sometimes they're required. It depends on what flexibility you have. My recommendation, and like what Paula's saying, it is a lot of times really smart to come to class whether you are optional or required, because in a lot of ways, that's where you get the most out of classes, being in that live session. All right. Thank you for that comment. So on this next slide, I believe, just a second, that these links, all right, they are not live on here, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste 2 links on the board right now for you. One of these links is a little quick 2-minute look at the intro of a class. And I'm gonna shut the chat down once again, just so that the links don't get lost. All right. So you're gonna take a quick minute and watch these other 2 videos. And you might want to skip through the actually, don't click on them yet. I'm gonna give you a little rundown first. So the first video is gonna have some opening strategies and what we do kind of as we hop into the beginning of class. It's going to be a teacher and what they're actually doing. And the second little video is a little bit longer, but there's 3 different, if I remember correctly, I think there's 3 different teachers. So you can at least just watch one of those. So I'm going to set the timer for about 5 minutes and let you guys check those out. And then we'll have a little question and answer thing here at the end. All right. So I'm going to mute my mic. I'll put some instructions in the chat and I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. Well. If that's the case, we're just going to skip that part. So I see that seems to be a similar theme across the board here. So if that's the case, there ain't nothing we can do about it, I suppose. So I apologize for that. But what we can do right now, if you were not able to access the video, and I've got my timer going, I'm going to stop that before it blares on us. All right, what I've got now, I've got the chat open, and if anybody was able to, gotcha, yeah, okay, maybe that was the case then. So you might have to go through your Georgia Cyber account if you were not able to access the video the first time. Anyway, here's what you can do. I would recommend opening those links, and then as soon as we hop out of here, you can watch them a little bit more if you want to check that out. But since I kind of already cut us off there, what we can do now is if anybody would like to hop in the chat, if you have any specific questions, I can help you out with something. Ms. Lowndes might can help you out, and we'll take the next few minutes to answer any questions that you guys might have. And it can literally be anything at all. So we are here to help.
If you prefer using the mic, you can raise your hand by clicking on that smiley face underneath Mr. Carr's face, and there's a raise hand, and we can give you the mic if you prefer that, or you can do it in chat.
Yes. So down at the bottom, you'll see there's a little feedback button. If you hover over the top of it, you can hit the raise hand button. There you go. Paula's got it. So I'm going to open your mic. Paula, what you got for us?
Mr. Carr?
Do you need to hop? Do you have a question for us?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for sending an email out to my son this week for getting an A in his class.
No problem.
Yeah.
Well, hey, he earned it. He did a great job. So tell him good job as well. I think I've already told him, but still, he earned that. So great job to him.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? If you have a question, like I was saying, hover over the feedback, click on it, and then there's a little raise hand button, and we can hop on that.